P. Diddy diddled, the rap wheel fiddled. Jay-Z and Bey may divorce soon.
The rapper turned mogul may consider changing his name to Dindi Nuddin.
And we'd like to say thank you to Beyonce, just in case.
Welcome to the state of it.
The state of it. We would just like to establish that given the sensitivity of this topic, everything contained in this video is alleged, unless otherwise verified in a court of law.
Okay, with that out of the way, did Diddy do it? So we just thought we'd start off with an article from the Hollywood Reporter regarding the interview between Piers Morgan and Jaguar Wright, who is an online personality making a lot of allegations around this story. This from the Hollywood Reporter.
Piers Morgan apologises after airing Jaguar Wright's allegations against Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Morgan's initial interview with Wright featured explosive allegations against the superstar music couple, which the broadcaster now says are false.
Piers Morgan issued an on-air apology to Jay-Z and Beyonce this week regarding an interview with Jaguar Wright, who made allegations on Morgan's show against the superstar power couple that turned out to be false.
Wright, a singer, recently appeared on Morgan's show Uncensored, where she spoke about Sean Diddy Combs' recent arrest. For 4 years, I've been screaming not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. Wright said during her interview elsewhere, she claimed that Jay-Z and Beyonce both have hundreds of victims.
On Tuesday, Morgan revealed on his show that Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyers contacted him and that Wright's claims were totally false and have no basis in fact.
The thing about platforms, the reality of the modern world, is that pretty much everyone has a platform, as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear, Morgan told his audience. That's why we invited Wright on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience, with or without shows like mine.
He continued, while Jaguar unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said, in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. We had lawyers contact us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview.
Morgan concluded with his message with a direct apology. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored, he said. But like proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
On Wednesday, attorney for Jay-Z and Beyonce Alex Spiro told TMZ that while somebody reported it was a cease and desist, it wasn't that. It was quite bluntly an ultimatum.
There's rumours and then there's nonsense, and this is one step further, Spiro said, detailing his demands of Morgan. Remove that false accusation that's demonstrably false, or a court's going to order you to.
I think he made the wise choice and acted accordingly, Spiro said of Morgan. It didn't just harm the Carters. What he did effectively was to drown out the voices of actual victims in an ongoing case, in an ongoing investigation. And that was too much for me.
Okay, well, yeah, I think this is an article that sort of really speaks more to the sort of issues around accusing people, especially people with such big names, of such serious things. And so, yeah, I thought this one would be an interesting point to jump off on.
What's particularly interesting about this article is censorship and free speech. Now, should Piers Morgan be the person that has to apologise, or should they have taken it direct to Jaguar Wright? And I think it's interesting that they didn't. Now, what she said on Piers Morgan is very, very tame. I've watched a lot of videos with Jaguar Wright in them, and she says a lot worse about a lot more people. She's mentioned Beyonce, Jay-Z, J-Lo, and myriad of people, and she says that she has receipts to back it up. Now, again, what's interesting about her is that she hasn't been sued. She hasn't been approached, ever. But they did want to silence it on Piers Morgan. But she is platformed on YouTube everywhere at the moment, with either as high views as Piers Morgan, or maybe even more in some circumstances, especially short. So why they wanted to shut her up on Piers Morgan in particular, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's what the sort of lawyer said about they could sort of jeopardize ongoing investigations. It does strike me as a little bit of a cop out to some extent, but I do think you're right in terms of if she's got that many people watching her already, they're sort of trying to kind of hold on to water with their hands, in, so to speak, because you can't really just choose to censor things here and there in such a way. The irony, as was mentioned in the article, that it's supposed to be uncensored, and yet here we go. Then that said, free speech and what you would call in this regard would be slanderous. That isn't covered by sort of free speech protections, and of course there's a lot of reputational damage that will be caused by this. That said, this itself is also detracting from the ongoing story with P Diddy, which he's denying, of course, and but doesn't seem to be going in his favour or going all too well for him. And I think with the Jaguar rights accusations, a lot of them seem very, to some extent plausible. As we said from the opening of the show, this is all alleged, so we can't really speculate too much on that point. But the names that she's mentioning are such huge stars that it's hard not to sort of pay attention or take note of it, because of course a lot of the brands like Beyonce's empowering and all those sorts of things, it just sort of flies in the face of that. It seems like what you're getting in front of you is a whole different story to what's actually going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and the thing with the Jaguar riot, like you've just said, is some of the things she said have come true. Now, she claims that Jay-Z stabbed her with a box cutter, and she showed the scar, and she said that was him. Now, the thing with Jaguar Wright is she was around back in the early days of P. Diddy's and Jay-Z's career, and Jay-Z and P. Diddy were best of friends by the looks of it. Something else interesting is that she claims that the first time that Jay-Z actually met Beyonce was when she was 15, which is different than the story that they tell. I think they say like 17 or 18 or something. But there's also pictures to prove that he was around her at 15 years old. Now, whether or not anything happened, nobody will ever know that unless they admit that themselves. But she does have some proven things that she said. And another thing I wonder is, if we're going to censor or remove a comment that Jaguar Wright has made because of the allegations and seriousness of it, does that also actually mean that until he's proven guilty or innocent, that nobody should be able to talk about P. Diddy either?
Yeah, I mean, they're all sort of, as I said before, you're holding onto water with your hands. Whether this takes place in an online platform, in the media, etc., people will talk about it next to the water cooler at work. It's a huge story. It's everyone talking about it already. The thing is, what you did say, though, with her being there at the time, you also have that horrendous footage with Cassie and P. Diddy. Now, of course, she's making allegations against other people, but then there's that mysterious, unsolved situation between Solange Knowles and Jay-Z in the elevator, which never really got an answer. And I think where I fall on that side of things is what the motivations are. So you could say Jaguar Wright's motivations would be she was scorned by said parties and would like to get some act of, vengeance, what so to speak. But then that just seems really loose and pointless in a way. Of course, it's getting her some notoriety now, but it's going to be far more in the interests of these high-profile figures with such strong brand images, like Beyonce and Jay-Z are, a power couple. Their whole brand is about being, a strong marriage, etc. Beyonce's is empowerment, and Jay-Z's is more about coming from nothing to the stratosphere that he's at now. So their image is everything. So you've got these sorts of allegations coming through. Jaguar Wright's situation, she's kind of taken a front seat in a lot of the front stage in a lot of this. but the allegations continue to mount constantly against, particularly P. Diddy in this one, but against other people as well that have been implicated.
Yeah, there's definitely been other people implicated. Another person she mentions was J-Lo, and as far as I'm aware, to this point, J-Lo's lawyers haven't contacted Piers Morgan and asked her to remove anything. Now, also, they've said it's demonstrably false, but right now, can you prove slander because it's he said versus she said? That's what the situation is. That would have to go to court to be proven whether or not what she said was false, or whether or not what she said was true. And in fact, what's actually happened, because they didn't go after Jaguar Wright, in particular, they went after the Piers Morgan show, is that the comment's been removed. And I do agree with you 100%. It's all about brand, everything like that. And things that have happened to them, they seem to have got over very quickly. Obviously, Jay-Z was well known to have an affair. Beyonce wrote an album about it. But as a couple, they've got past that, and in the public eye, they've got past that. Now, another big difference between Jaguar Wright and Jay-Z is that he's a billionaire. So I'm sure he's got the top of the top lawyers, that everything that comes along with being a billionaire that you can afford. Now, Jaguar Wright in particular was saying all this stuff years ago. And she did get some traction on YouTube. He had a YouTube channel which has since been taken down. But nothing like the numbers she had now. But she was saying it 4 years ago when nobody else was. And now she's saying it again. She's getting more notoriety for it. But she has been shouting about this stuff for years. No one's taken it seriously. Like you say, it's the other stars involved. In the interesting thing about this, in regards to P. Diddy, is who else was involved? And can you be guilty by association? Because we know that a lot of people went to those white parties. But does that mean that everybody who attended those white parties did things or even saw things when they were there? You do have to, I think, look more closely at those close friends of P. Diddy, which Jay-Z was for a long, long time. Now he's trying to distance himself completely. But if somebody is like that and you're around them all the time, do you not notice it?
Well, it's to me, it's nigh on impossible to be married to somebody and not know those sorts of details. It's nigh on impossible. And the thing is, when you command such power and you are of a certain character, then of course you're not going to really be particularly hiding of that situation, and then you're going to get people throwing themselves at you, willing to do all sorts of things. I mean, it's that sort of thing that the CIA used to do, and probably still do, and other organizations too, where they'll entrap people, political folk figures, in this case it'll be pop stars, I guess, with like putting them in a nefarious situation, recording that, having evidence of it, so no matter what happens, you'll always have something on something. This is all very illogical behavior in terms of actual things that have happened before. So it stands to reason that if you're going to have people who are trying to break into an industry that's obviously incredibly difficult to do, and you've got somebody at the tippy top of that who has got that sort of side of him, then of course that's going to lead to a situation like that, because it ultimately gives them the power. So that you ever see anything, this will be released, so.
And obviously everything that we're discussing in this video is alleged.
I just want to say thanks, Beyonce. Thanks, Beyonce. Thank you.
Thank you, Beyonce.
Just in case.
Thank you very much.
Oh, on that note, there might be an early recording of Beyonce.
We're just like everyone, trying to stay alive. Hush now, baby, don't tell us so. We're all just players in a role so cold. From the outside, it's a glamorous ride, but you know we got secrets we choose to hide. Skeletons in the closet.
Over to faking news. In a shocking turn of events in the P. Diddy scandal, a French digger was found in the tunnels under P. Diddy's house. The Frenchman, Jacques Escargot, has reportedly been there since 1991 and thought he was still digging the Channel Tunnel. Surviving on water and food stolen from numerous young women and miners being forced through the tunnel, Jacques had this to say.
I was digging the Channel Tunnel and must have taken a wrong turn. I am exhausted now, and now I'm finally free. I stole food from people coming by. They did not care who I was, and they did not talk to me to tell me I was in America. I thought it was very strange that so many women kept coming through the tunnel without any protective gear. But I was here to do a job, so I did not question it.
America has deemed Jacques to have entered the country illegally, so he will be deported immediately. The FBI did question Jacques for any information on the P. Diddy case, but he claimed he didn't know who P. Diddy was.
I don't know this P. Diddy. I just want to go home and eat some bread and some cheese and drink some wine. Does Harvey Weinstein still make the good movies?
An eyewitness on the scene, who asked not to be named for canine purposes, had this to say.
Well, I was just out from picking up my baby doll, little Princess Precious Petal Rose Ray. She's a pigeon creature. From the little doggy nail salon when I heard this awful noise. I damn near crapped my pantyhose. They better not let that little French man stay in America. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. Come on, girl.
Well, it was rumoured that Jacques was the person P. Diddy referred to as having a big French stick.
Ooh la la.
This cannot be proven, and Jacques will be deported tomorrow to return to his wife and family in France. Back to the show.
Oh dear. I hope Jack makes it home okay.
Imagine just waking up in America when you haven't seen the world since 1991.
It'd be like landing on another planet.
Simpler times, they were better times.
Yeah, we need to do a 90s episode.
Oh, definitely. Oh, absolutely. I think that was when we reached our cultural zenith in the West. Everything was just perfect.
I agree. And I know we sound like our parents when we start saying things like, back in my day. It was better. It was so much better.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, one of those stuff, I know we're going off on a bit of a tangent, but I feel with this next generation now, I don't know if you remember back in those sort of days, they'd say oh, you don't know how lucky you've got it these days. I genuinely think that this generation now, it's flipped on its head. I think they can say to us that we don't know how lucky we had it, because how it is now, of course we're not that old, but how it is now is just awful.
Bringing it back to P. Diddy, I don't think we would know as much if it wasn't for social media and phones. However, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, up to you.
My question now, and it is a question that I sort of have pondered about this, why now, when it's been going on for so long, what is it that they've decided, whoever they might be, to say, okay, well, this can be released now? Why is it now that this is happening?
I think there's a lot of things going on right now that you could ask that question of. I think in regards to P. Diddy, the stuff that happened with Cassie at the hotel, I don't know who leaked that footage, but it was leaked. I think that spurred on other things. But apparently the FBI have been building a case for years and years and years. So why now? I don't know. Will we ever find out? Probably not.
Well, apparently it seems we've just received a call about the royal take on this situation.
heard the terrible business about one P. Diddy?
P. Diddy? Isn't it Daddy Puff?
No, P. Diddy, American rapper. Awful business, the whole lot.
Did he do it, or did he not?
Well, the evidence does seem overwhelming so far.
Yes, thank God our stunning girls were never anywhere near him.
What?
Yes, thank goodness. Andrew, you never dipped a toe in P. Diddy's pool, did you?
Certainly not. You of all people know where my toes have been, Fergie.
Why, yes, I do.
Though one is rather grateful that the limelight isn't shining on me now.
Yes, Andrew, that's why I called. You can stop sweating now.
I told you, I don't sweat. It's a medical condition.
Well, one remembers you sweating quite profusely when we used to.
Okay, folks, I think we'll leave that one there.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Till next time.